Hello, welcome, Cabbage here. In Magic the Gathering, I thought I would show off my new favorite standard deck. We just got Foundations, which has a lot of new cards, but also makes a lot of older cards standard legal again. And then, surprisingly, there is Maze's End and then the Gates to go for the Gates instant win. I actually have a lot of these cards already in paper because I was kind of half putting together a commander deck, a Gates commander deck. But I didn't like the idea of, searching my deck, a bazillion times and shuffling it every time. But then I saw with this standard deck that I could go for a mill strategy instead, and I've been working on it, and it works pretty well, actually. So yeah, Circuitous Route or whatever, those search your library spells, I really don't have any of those. The only card that I have that will search for stuff in my library is the Maze's End, which I gotta use anyway, so yeah. Alright, so that was a rare hand where I did not really have a good starting hand, so I mulliganed that. And then I could play cards in order to get my Insidious Fungus out early, but not a big deal. So yeah, I'm not too hurt by playing, tap lands in the beginning here. Insidious Fungus is nice because I can sacrifice it to destroy artifacts or enchantments. That can be useful if an opponent, their strategy relies on that. And then here I'm hoping they waste a counterspell on my fungus. Yeah, if this is counterspelled, really don't care. And then that last mode, it can draw you a card, and then you can put a land from your hand into play. So it's like the Growth Spiral, I think it is, so that's a pretty good mode. And then good synergy with my deck. If I can play, 2 or more lands per turn, that'll be really helpful. And then they have the Haughty Djinn. I think I want to get rid of that. It's only power 0, but yeah, I would like to get rid of that. And so I decided to put down the plain so that I have 2 white. It's pretty important for my deck to have 2 white because I have lots of sweepers, and then this single target removal and a Parting Gust. And yeah, this is basically a control deck. So I'm trying to remove stuff, especially creatures, as much as possible. Okay. I have Spelunking in hand. But we're going to go for Case of the Locked Hothouse. This will let me play 2 lands per turn. So I can also play my island. And then next turn, I'll be pretty ready. And I don't need to worry about damage playing this deck, so I don't need to attack with the fungus. And there are kind of a few life gain decks. Maybe white and black in particular. Maybe white and green as well. But yeah, it doesn't matter how much life they have. It only matters how much life I have. If I can survive long enough to get the Gates win. Alright, here we can play Spelunking. I will draw a card. And then I can put a land card from my hand to play, that is fine. And then tapped lands will come into play untapped. So I'll put out 2 lands, and then I can play the Tale of Tamio. This is a saga which will let me mill cards. And then if 2 of the cards that I mill together, if they're the same type, I get to draw a card and then mill more. And then it also has like sorcery or instant recursion at the end of the saga, so yeah, lots of nice synergy with my deck. Oh, and then we solved the case of the, I think it's the Locked Hothouse, that enchantment for 4 that I cast last turn. So that means I will now be able to play cards off the top of my library. So yeah, that combined with Spelunking is going to be pretty powerful. I can play 2 lands a turn, I can play them untapped, So yeah, I can play stuff from the top of my library, and that's nice, just to get that out of the way, get to the cards below it. It's almost like drawing cards, basically. Alright, and then I finally got Maze's End. It comes into play untapped because of the spelunking, so I can activate it immediately, get another gate, put it out. Also comes in untapped. And then I will try to just get out Maze's End as often as possible, activate it as often as possible, and just go through my deck and then get all the gates out. The problem is what to do with the gates that are in my graveyard. And that's good timing. I can use say its name there to go through my graveyard and then grab a land. Or another permanent if I need that. Alright, let's play Maze's End again. Activate it. Grab a guild gate. Play Maze's End for the second time. Activate it for the second time. And we'll grab another guild gate. Maybe 2 or 3 more of those. And then we'll say its name. And then this will give us access to our graveyard. I'm going to look for a gate that I do not have out yet. I think I'm good, so we'll grab the Beanstalk Worm. That will let me play another land this turn on the one side. So that's the third time I can play Maze's End this turn. But actually, I think I missed. Or I misjudged which gates I have out in play. The Selesnya, the green-white, and then the Simic, the blue-green decks. I have 3 copies of each, and I usually get those out pretty quickly, but I think here I don't have a Simic one out. So I should have grabbed that. Okay, but the saga will come to an end. I can do any number of sorceries or instants from my graveyard. I only needed the sweeper there, so I grabbed that, cast it instantly, got rid of everybody. And then I can go back to playing and activating my Maze's End over and over. Yeah, when this deck gets going, it takes lots of actions in a turn, and it can kind of win out of nowhere. Alright, then we'll play Aftermath Analyst from the top of my library. I'm looking at my graveyard. I'm actually seeing I don't have any... I'm actually seeing that I don't have any gates or Maze's End in there, so... I actually don't need to put it out and then activate the put all lands out onto play, so although the opponent countered it, I didn't care very much about that. But yeah, here I am realizing that I should have grabbed the Simic gate from the previous turn. But I'm looking at the opponent, and unless he can do direct damage or like hit me with haste, which blue is not good at, then I basically have another turn to do my thing. So yeah. Okay, put out Maze's End. Grab my Simic gate from my library. If the gate that I needed was in my graveyard, I could have used a Peerless Recycling there. And then if I needed 2 gates from my graveyard, I could have gifted a card from Peerless Recycling to grab 2 gates and then maybe win there, so yeah. Lots of nice cards for this deck and this strategy. Okay, let's look at one more game. But yeah, I would like to put together this deck for paper so that I can play in person. Finding games of Commander is a little difficult, but finding games in Standard is very doable here. Yeah, Standard and Modern, I would say, they're the most popular formats here. But they also run Pioneer and Legacy, I think it is. I forget what the oldest one is, but not a ton of those events around. But yeah, to have, you know, a standard deck or a second standard deck in addition to my mono red mice would be good to have, I think. Okay, second match. I like this starting hand more. I'm debating playing the Brushland and then doing Authority of the Commune or whatever it is first turn, but I decided against it. Oh, Authority of the Consul, I think it is. But yeah, that's nice to have because, especially against decks that play lots of creatures, I can kind of create a buffer, you know, get life every time they play something. And make them have to hit me more in order to take me down. But yeah, I have another sweeper in my hand, Starfall Invocation. And then I have another mill plus graveyard access in Inspiration from Beyond. That will also let me cast a sorcerer instant from my graveyard. And then what is that? That green card only costs 1. It'll let me mill 2, and then I can play a permanent, I think, from one of those 2 that I mill. Alright, get a little bit of life from my enchantment there. Demolish Sleeper. Alright. But yeah, the Authority of the Consuls, that will also help protect me against maybe red decks, especially if they have haste. Alrighty. So again, I have access to Spelunking. So let's play that. That will allow my tapped lands to come in untapped again. So let's put out that. And then here, I pulled a Kellen, and then he's got an adventure side on him too. I was kind of kicking myself. Maybe I wanted to play the Brushland so that I could play the adventure side, the sorcerer side of Kellen, in order to play an additional spell. But in the long run, won't matter. Okay, they got lots of guys out now. So now the sweeper that I have in hand is looking pretty good. So we'll use that first thing. The Day of Judgment is pretty much a better card. It costs 1 less, and then while Starfall Invocation does, you know, get one of my creatures back, none of my creatures are really valuable enough that I need to get them back. So yeah, when I get enough wild cards, you know, for this digital deck, then I will take out Starfall Invocation and I'll put in more Day of Judgments. But I have lots of Day of Judgments in my paper deck, so yeah, no problem there. I guess it would be Days of Judgment, not Day of Judgments. Okay. So this turn, actually, I would have a chance to use the sorcery side of Kellen. But first, let's use Say Its Name. Get access to the graveyard, look for a creature or a land. Only one land, Rakdos Guildgate, so we'll grab that, we'll put it out. Alright, Tail the Suspect. That will allow me to put out another land, so we'll do that. And just because I have mana left over, we'll play the creature side of Kellen. That's really a last resort. I don't really need to play that creature, but if I'm in desperate need for a blocker, or if I just have a lot of mana left over that I wouldn't use otherwise, then that's a fine choice. But yeah, pretty beefy body, flying, vigilance, so good attacker and blocker. And then interesting ability on him. If I attack with him, I can destroy an artifact. And so if the opponent has some artifacts like to get rid of, I can get rid of those. But he has special text where if I destroy one of my own artifacts, I can draw a card. And so that's actually kind of a free activation of the clue that he generates with his sorcery side, so kind of funny synergy there. Okay, so I used his artifact destroying ability to get rid of the Phyrexian thing that he had, the token creature. And then I played Inspiration from Beyond to get a sorcery or instant from my graveyard. We'll pick up Say Its Name, so we can mill more, and then grab something from my graveyard. A land or a creature. I grabbed the land, the Guildgate, but I wonder if I should have grabbed the inspection guy. So I could sacrifice them and then get all of the lands from my graveyard, but this works too. I actually do not have any copies of the Inspector guy in my paper deck, because I didn't think to look for those in my recent trip to Tokyo. And then the website that I usually buy from online doesn't have any of them. So that kind of hurts. That's definitely something I need to pick up. There it is, Aftermath Analyst. But I found in playing here on Arena that I only really need one activation. Once I can get my graveyard, clean of all of the gates and then the Maze's End, then I don't really need a second. And if I can, just pick up all of the gates going into my graveyard through, Say Its Name or some of the other mill effects that I have, then I don't need the Aftermath Analyst anyway. So if I'm lucky and careful, I actually don't need the Aftermath Analysts, but yeah, from now on I will be keeping an eye out, and if I see any, I will pick them up. I don't know if I need 4, maybe 3, because I only need the single activation per game, typically. Okay, but we got the Maze's End, so we can start on that pattern of grabbing the gates out of my library. And then Inspiration from Beyond has a flashback, so I can cast that again. And I can grab a sweeper if I need it, if the opponent has a bunch of creatures, or I can grab another mill spell. Say Its Name is maybe the best. Oh, and then Say Its Name, if I have 3 of them in my graveyard and I exile them, I can, search my cards for a big creature and then put it onto the battlefield, but I very rarely felt the need for a big creature on my battlefield. So yeah, I don't include it in my deck. Okay, and this is kind of a dilemma. I have Maze's End and a Guildgate in my hand, and I don't have the capability to play 2 lands in one turn. So I have to make a choice there. That's going to slow me down. Alright, but Inspiration from Beyond, let's grab a sorcery or instant. I'm seeing they have a couple guys, so let's grab Day of Judgment. Maybe that will dissuade them from summoning people. And then we'll use Killen's attack trigger to destroy one of their artifact creatures. Their incubation, whatever it is. Okay, I guess they don't care that I have the sweeper, Day of Judgment. They're going to activate their creatures and then play out another creature. And then I figure my Kellen is going to die next turn anyway, because I'm going to use the Day of Judgment, so I might as well block a guy, save myself some damage. But yeah, that's kind of his main use, is to block. If I can get some extra utility out of destroying artifacts, then that's just gravy. Okay, but Day of Judgment, kill everybody. We'll put out the fungus. So I'm going to sacrifice the fungus immediately in order to put out the Maze's End right away, activate it again, grab the last Guildgate that I need, and win. Hooray. Maybe my opponent was thinking I was going to try to destroy their Phyrexian arena, but instead I decided to win the game there. Okay, so that is my new favorite standard deck. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again. Take care.